Good afternoon, folks. Robert Chappell here, Executive Editor at Madison365 with your daily update for Thursday, January the 27th. The news today on the COVID front, at least, is improving. Let's say that. I know I said in the little blurb that the news is good, but I hesitate to say good news with these numbers. But we are trending downward significantly, which is good news, right? The numbers themselves are not good, but the trend is. We are now today at 7,958 cases per day on a 7-day average basis. That is down from, it was over 9,000 yesterday. It was over 16,000 last week. So, or rather earlier this week. So that's good. 8,085 new cases just today, which is still an awful lot, but a significantly fewer number than what we saw last week and the week before. The positive test rate also continues to come down, 22.7% today, which is still like outrageously bad, right? But just to give you context, during the worst pre-vaccine period in November 2020, we peaked at 17.5, which was awful at the time. And today we're still at 22.7, so I can't say that's good news. However, we were at 30 just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago almost now. So over the past 3 weeks, we've come down from 30 down to 22.7. That's coming down. That's not as sharply coming down as the number of cases, but it is coming down. Hospitalizations also coming down very sharply, which is also pretty good news. We are now at, I thought I had this up, but I didn't, 1,774 people hospitalized. Still a lot. 362 of those are in the ICU. But the total number of people hospitalized is down by 325 just in the past week. And the population in the ICU has come down by 83. So yeah, that's sorry, let me do this math real quick. Yeah, it's a 15% decrease in the past 7 days in the total hospital population, which is great news. And 20% decrease in ICU patients. All good news. The other thing I want to mention is deaths have not continued to rise. I'm surprised and I'm glad. We've said that deaths are going to continue to rise even as cases come down. And every time it looks like the deaths are about to go up, they stop going up. So we're still at 33 deaths per day, which would put COVID as the number one top cause of death in Wisconsin if it maintained 33 all year round. Right, so that 33 is not a good number. That 33 daily average means basically for the past 7 days, COVID has been the leading cause of death in Wisconsin. Because the normal leading cause of death is heart disease, which kills 31 people per day. That includes 24 new confirmed deaths today and 6 new probable deaths. Now, that got as high as 39 earlier this week, and I really thought that was signaling that it was going to continue to rise. Basically, what happens is every time the cases go up, deaths go up about 4 weeks later. So if we're looking at deaths from 4 weeks ago, right, you'd be looking at like December, very late December, when cases were at 6,000 a day or so, 6,500 a day. So you'd expect to see that to go up into the 40s or 50s with 6,000 cases a day 4 weeks later, but it hasn't, which is good news, right? We've always been kind of like, we feel like this is going to go up, cross your fingers it doesn't, and so far it hasn't. I still think it will, but not maybe as badly as I thought. If you were looking at 17,000, 18,000 cases every day, you'd expect 100 deaths a day and 150 deaths a day 4 weeks later. And I don't think we're going to see that. I think it'll get into the 40s or 50s, which is bad, right? Which is very high, but that won't last very long. And it won't get any worse than that. And we'll have a case fatality rate of significantly less than 1%. It's been about 1% for the whole pandemic. But this Omicron surge, it looks to me like the Omicron surge case fatality rate is going to be less than 1%, which is nothing but, that's good. That's good news. There's nothing but good to say about that. Okay, so that's the base of the COVID situation. Things are good right now. Let me rephrase that. Things are better right now. Right? Still too many cases. Still the positive test rate is still too high. Still too many deaths. Still too many people hospitalized. But all those numbers are headed in the right direction, which is what we want to see. And the cases, especially, are headed in the right direction rapidly. Right? At this rate, they'll be, back down in the 3,000 and 4,000 per day range in another week, which is much more manageable, right, than 18,000 a day. We are at 10,997 confirmed deaths. We'll certainly pass 11,000 tomorrow. We also have 1,219 probable deaths. Those are, for the entire 2-year period. Okay, so we're going to take a short pause. I have some other very interesting local news for you, including a really interesting story out of Stevens Point, a tragic story, but one that we want to make sure we tell. And I've got some other local news for you. Just stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, so UW Stevens Point, it has been known for a long time that back in the 1860s, there were a large group of Ho-Chunk, Potawatomi, Oneida, and Ojibwe people, Menominee, not Oneida, who were relocated to, I guess, what amounted to a reservation outside of Stevens Point. And then the University of Stevens Point was built basically on top of that site where these people were displaced. They all got scarlet fever and died. They were dumped into a quarry and unceremoniously buried. Now, the UW of Stevens Point is now finally putting up a monument, a memorial, an acknowledgement for those people, those ancestors who were buried under the campus. This is where it's going to go. Right here, this spot between these buildings, sort of toward the south end of campus. That what you see there, that little sign there, is a temporary acknowledgement marker that was put up in December. So what they're doing now is basically issuing a call for artists, specifically for Indigenous artists. They put out a call to the 11 nations that are based here in Wisconsin, looking for either an artist or a collaboration of artists to create something really meaningful as a monument, as an acknowledgement, as a memorial for those folks who are buried unceremoniously under campus. We don't know where they are exactly. Like, there's enough historical record in newspaper stories and just historical records that they have an idea kind of that it's near campus, but don't even know like actual place where these folks are buried. So they are going to erect a memorial monument, and they're seeking artists to do it. The deadline to apply is February 14th. If you go to Madison365.org right now, if you are an Indigenous artist or you know one who maybe could put a collaboration together or put a piece of work together, a sculpture or a mural, or, they're pretty open-minded in terms of what it would look like. Go to Madison365.org. The instructions to submit a proposal are there in that story. And I think it's an important thing that they're doing. Yeah, UW Stevens Point. Also today, we found out Gabe Doyle, who currently is the Director of Community Impact in Health at United Way, has joined the Foundation for Black Women's Wellness as it's a community engagement director, I think, is what, if I'm remembering correctly. Sorry, as community director of community health initiatives. That's what I meant to say. Gabe was on our list of most influential Black leaders until 2020. I would posit that in this role he would have more influence. You might remember him as the son of former Governor Jim Doyle. Also today, we learned that Dennis Shields, who was on our most influential Black leaders list in 2018, is the chancellor at my alma mater, UW-Platteville. Go Pioneers. And he is a finalist to be the president and chancellor of the Southern University system, which is the only HBCU system in the country. So it's 2 4-year universities, a community college, and an agricultural research center, and a law center in Louisiana. And the current president and chancellor is retiring. And so Dr. Shields is the finalist to take over that chancellorship presidency, along with University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff Chancellor Lawrence Alexander and Dillard University President Walter Kimbrough. The Southern University system is looking to have a new chancellor and president in place on July 1st. So that's a big vote of confidence for Dr. Shields and his talents, and you know, it's kind of guy you hate to lose from Wisconsin, but you also don't want to hold him back either. So best of luck to him. That's all the news I have for you today. Have lots more news coming for you tomorrow. And we'll be back with that and more. And until then, have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
This is 365 Media.